Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Worthy Vice Chancellor, Mr. Mirza Saab, Professor Dr. Madam Tanveer Khalid Saiba, respected deans, my dear colleagues and dear students, Assalamu alaikum. The topic that has been given to me to speak on is how India has violated international conventions, UN resolution and bilateral agreements on the issue of Kashmir. So basically I have divided this talk into three sections where I'll be talking about the violation of certain conventions, UN resolution and some bilateral agreements like Simla Pact. Now we all know that, I hope you all are the learned audience, so you know better than me that Kashmir is the oldest dispute at the UN agenda, at the United Nations agenda. And this dispute remains unresolved, and it has now become an international conflict in today's world. Pakistan considers Kashmir as its core political dispute with India. So does the international forums and community. But India is unwilling, is so reluctant to accept that. India is so forcibly had occupation of the state of Jammu and Kashmir since 1947, and this is the main cause of this dispute. The dispute over Kashmir emanates from the partition of Indian subcontinent in 1947, wherein 500 princely states were given an option either to join Pakistan or Indian Union. The shrewd Maharaja of Kashmir, instead of acceding to Pakistan as Kashmir, being a Muslim majority state, invited Indian forces and violated the very basic principle of self-determination of all the Muslim subjects. Then we come to know that in 1948, Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru went to UNSC, United Nations Security Council, against Pakistan's invasion of Kashmir, and after certain deliberations, it was decided in the same platform that people of Kashmir would be given the right of self-determination as per UN resolution. But this resolution was also blatantly violated. So far, about 11 resolutions have been passed in United Nations Security Council reiterating the right of self-determination of the people of Kashmir, but none of them has been followed. United Nations resolution on Kashmir that was adopted by the Security Council reiterated this point. They maintained that an insurgency in the state of Jammu and Kashmir and in India placed Kashmir dispute before United Nations Security Council on 1st January 1948 under Article 35 of Chapter 6 of the United Nations relating to peaceful settlement of all these disputes. There were certain basic points that came under the resolution. I'm going to read these points. The complaint relating to Kashmir was initiated by India in the Security Council. The Security Council explicitly and by implication rejected India's claim that Kashmir is legally an Indian territory. It has already been rejected. The resolutions established self-determination as the governing principle of settlement of Kashmir dispute. This is the world's commitment to the people of Kashmir. Finally, the resolution endorsed a binding agreement between India and Pakistan reached through the mediation of UNCIP that plebiscite would be held under agreed and specified conditions. Now, if we look at all these points of resolution, we can easily agree that none of them have been followed by Indian government. In the meantime, if we look back again, we look at the action of Jawaharlal Nehru, who backed down from his promises, selected and foisted a puppet chief minister, Sheikh Abdullah, through sham elections, giving Kashmir special status via Article 370 of Indian Constitution. This article exactly promised that non-Kashmiris would not be eligible for jobs, property, or permanent settlement in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. This agreement between Jawaharlal Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah was a blatant violation of international commitment before the World Forum of United Nations. Another violation that I would like to highlight here is the violation of Simla Pact between Indira Gandhi and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, which stipulated the long-standing disputes between two countries. That would be based on the bilateral dialogues. The recent induction of Modi government again has changed the entire scenario of bilateralism. They have abandoned the principle of mutual dialogue. They are not ready to talk. They have rather launched an unprovoked attack on Pakistani territory, which is Balakot. This attack has aggravated overall security not only in Indian and Pakistani territories, but in the entire subcontinent, which is something to be worried about. And now the entire continent, the entire region is on the verge of the nuclear holocaust, which we all should be worried about. The acts of violation of international laws and mutual pacts and all the dialogues promised by Indian government have now been forgotten. These acts of violation of international law on the part of Indian government has attracted a lot of world attention and a lot of media highlights. In the recent speech of our Prime Minister Imran Khan, he has eloquently and very explicitly highlighted the threat of Indian evil designs for the bulk of humanity which is living in the entire subcontinent, especially in the region of Southeast Asia. Since August this year, Indian Prime Minister Modi has revoked Article 370 of Indian Constitution. He is not even following his own constitution by dissolving the state legislature, scrapping the special status of Jammu and Kashmir, making it a union territory, and imposed a ruthless curfew on all the towns and villages by deploying 800,000 army on Kashmir as virtual concentration camp. We can imagine by looking at all these images on media, on television every day, and really our heart bleeds looking at these. So if we look at all these images and the highlights portrayed by media, we can see exactly another image of the Hitler style of Nazi camps. The people of the Kashmir Valley are deprived of the medicine, they are deprived of the food, they are deprived of the basic right of association and congregation. They have become subject to the pellet guns. And you can easily see all these images on the media. Even they have caused them very torturous deaths to all the innocent Kashmiri youth in the name of operation against the so-called Islamic militancy. In the end, I would like to reiterate to the Indian government that we must not forget, and they must not forget, that the cause of Kashmir is the point of importance for the entire Pakistani nation, and we stand firm and resolute and condemn all these violations done by the Indian government. We claim that Kashmir was ours and it will always be ours. Thank you so much.